everyone, welcome back to Alice on the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is all about my August TBR, part 2. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books. And although there were way too many books on my Garb August TBR, I did mention in that one that I still have a few books that are not garbage that I want to read for definite in August, and I just didn't have enough space in that video to talk through them all. So I have a few more books here today to tell you about that I'm going to read in August, hopefully, if I get enough time. And I also wanted to talk about a new idea I had for getting through some of my TBR backlog. Most of what I've got to talk about today is ongoing read-alongs that I've been involved in, most of which are continuing into August. So the first one is a continuation of a book that I was supposed to start in July. I haven't actually started it yet, and we are on getting close to the end of July, so definitely not going to be finished. Whether I will have started it or not is a different question, and that is for the Tudoralong. And the Tudoralong is hosted by Dani at Dani's Book World, Gemma at Gemma Books, and Emily at Novelle Novels. And the book for July and August is Anne Boleyn from the Six Tudor Queens series by Alison Weir. And I was hoping to read it in July to avoid having it to read in August, but I'm hoping I will get caught up on this one because I'm planning to now get it as an audio, and I've got a couple of ongoing audiobooks that I want to get finished by the end of July, and that should leave me free to listen to this in August. Next up is a read-along that I regularly join in with, and I actually forgot to mention the picks for it last month, and then we had a bit of a delay to the meeting for last month, so I actually got another chance to be able to talk about it and also to be able to actually get the book read because I haven't yet. So there are actually 2 books for this read-along this month because I didn't read July's pick yet. What I'm talking about is Christiefest. Christiefest is run by Julie over at Hungry Bookworm and Lil over at Lil's Vintage World. They read one Agatha Christie book a month. For me, these are all rereads, but I'm very much enjoying rereading some old favourites. So July's pick, first of all, that I haven't actually read yet, is Agatha Christie's Appointment with Death. I remember this being a really good Poirot mystery, so I am looking forward to rereading this and hoping to get it read in time for our meeting in the first week of August. And I've shown you that I have some of the comic books before, some of the graphic novels of these Agatha Christie books. And for this one, they actually didn't translate this into English at any point. So I've bought the French edition of this, and I really love the title, Rendezvous avec l'amour. Yes, I really love the cover illustration on this. So my idea was that because I did do an A-level in French and need to really brush up my skills in speaking French, I thought a graphic novel would be an ideal way to read a book in French, and if I read it in conjunction with the actual book, then I thought that I might be able to translate it more easily. And August's book for Christiefest is The Secret Adversary, which is the first Tommy and Tuppence mystery. And this one's actually more of a thriller, I would say, a bit more sort of spy related perhaps. I do really enjoy the 5 Tommy and Tuppence books, although I wouldn't say that this was my favourite. And this is a very early Agatha Christie. I don't actually own a paper copy of the actual story, but I do own this nice second-hand version of the graphic novel. If I don't get time for this one, I might just stick to finishing Appointment with Death because I'm not feeling very desperate to reread this one, but perhaps I will. The next read-along that I've been involved with for a while is the Annealong. This is hosted by Emily at Novelle Novels, and we were reading one Anne of Green Gables book per month. And August's book is the final book in the series, Rilla of Ingleside. I still haven't actually finished July's pick. There's a bit of a theme emerging here, which is called Rainbow Valley. I'm listening to Rainbow Valley on audio, so I do need to catch that up. And once I've caught that up, I will be reading Rilla of Ingleside, and the Annealong will be sadly finished. This one will be about Rilla, who is Anne's daughter and not Anne herself, so be interesting to see where this one goes. And I have a lovely copy that was sent to me by Emily from Novelle Novels, so thank you, Emily. And the last one of the read-alongs that I've been joining in long term is the Killer Reads Thriller Month Book Club. This is hosted by AJ over at AJ Dunn Reads and Writes, and I do really enjoy reading a thriller a month from this. The thrillers that are selected for this are all from Penguin's top 60 thrillers of all time, and it's been a bit of a mixed bag so far. Again, I'm still working on July's pick, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I've also decided to try on audio. The audio is narrated by John C. Reilly and is really, really good so far. But the pick for August will also be one I will have to get on audiobook, and that is Strangers by Dean Koontz. I didn't know if this one might actually fit into Garb August, or definitely as a trash adjacent book. And I did notice it on at least one person's possibilities for Garb August, so we will see how we get on with Dean Koontz Strangers. I have read a Dean Koontz book before, and I do have more on my TBR, but I sadly don't actually own a copy of Strangers. And finally, and most importantly, this one I definitely will be starting in August regardless. And this is going to be my one non-trashy buddy read this month. And I'm buddy reading this with Gemma from Gemma Books, who kindly sent me the book for my birthday, and also Fraser Simons from Fraser Simons Springboard Thoughts. This book is going to be my main relief from Garb August. So alongside all of the trash that I will be filling my head with, to keep myself sane, I thought I would embark on a buddy read of another epic giant classic, and that is of course my new project, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Really looking forward to this one, even though it is considerably bigger than our last friend Don Quixote. Hopefully this one won't take over a year, because Gemma, Fraser and I are hoping to read it in 2 months. So we're going at a nice steady pace with this one. I believe we're going to be reading 2 chapters a day, and that should be a nice steady read of a classic for me alongside my very trashy reading. If you don't know what I'm talking about with trashy reading, go and check out my Garb August TBR, in which I talked about all the very trashy, garbagey books that I will read or might read in the month of August for the newest readathon around Garb August. But this will definitely not be for Garb August. I am looking forward to starting this hefty classic. As this is quite a short TBR video and technically a part 2 to the Garb August TBR, I thought I would tell you about a new idea I had for trying to get my older books on my TBR read. This was inspired by 2 things. One was doing the "why haven't I read this book yet" tag. So this video, the purpose was to talk about books that you haven't read yet. I did it about books I haven't read yet that I own, and I tried to talk about books that I'd had for over 10 years. This led me to discover that I had a worrying amount of books that I haven't read for well over 10 years. Then hot on the heels of that, I saw a video by Katie over at Books and Things, which was actually her mid-year goals check-in. And Katie was talking about a little TBR bucket that she has, in which she had put the names at the beginning of the year of all the books that she had owned since before, I think it was Christmas 2021. And I thought, I need to do this, but I need to do this for my really old TBR books, because my challenge to myself this year was to read at least 52 books off the giant TBR, 1 per week was the theory. I am pretty much on track for this, I believe. I would need to check it more closely because of all the incomings and outgoings, but I think I'm on track for this. The issue I realised by the combination of these 2 videos was that I have a lot of books that have been hanging around a very long time that I almost never think to read. I knew I had a list of books that I wrote at the beginning of 2010, so 12 years ago, and I decided to put everything on that list that I still haven't read into a tin. So we have a new TBR tin, and in this TBR tin, I am horrified to inform you, are the names of 45 books I have owned for over 12 years. This has the oldest books on my TBR in it. I haven't folded them up yet, but I wrote each one on a slip of paper, and what I thought I would do is I will be folding them all up so that I can't cheat, but when I've folded them all up, I am going to use this in my monthly TBR videos to make sure that I'm reading at least one of these very old books per month. I think that is a fair goal, but to be honest, I would really like to have read at least 10 of these by the end of the year. So that challenges me to more than one a month. I haven't really worked out all the rules yet, but maybe I could draw 2 if I've got less other books to read that month, and only 1 if I've got a really busy month with something else. Or perhaps I will have to draw extra books as a forfeit if I've only read new books in the previous month. So yeah, that is my new TBR tin. I am not going to draw a book for August, and the reason for that is that in my Garb August video I showed a huge pile of books that were trash adjacent, or that I wasn't sure whether they have trashy elements, and those were nearly all off my giant TBR. So if I do have time for reading more books from the giant TBR, I know that some in that stack are definitely in this tin, and hopefully 10 books at least out of this tin will be read by the end of 2022. And I will check in with you about those numbers at the beginning of 2023 and set a new goal. This is my newest solution to trying to read the oldest books on my TBR. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, I hope you will give it a like, and I hope you'll consider subscribing if you haven't already. Please do let me know in the comments, have you read any of these books before? Are there any of these that you particularly recommend? And how do you think I'm going to get on with my next epic project, The Count of Monte Cristo? I very much hope to see you all again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.